You know, if you, my mind is racing. If you go back to the guys who started the movie business, Louis B. Mayer and Warner and all those guys who were actually furriers in Europe. My dad was a furrier when it was politically correct to be a furrier. All those guys came from Russia and Poland and worshipped the Gentile woman, you know, the blonde beauty. They were really, they set this standard for beauty, you know, this white sort of shiksa goddess. And my wife is blonde and green-eyed, and she's Jewish. You know, she's Jewish on all sides. That's what a Jew looks like. That's what that Jew looks like. But there is an idea in the show business that the Kastnish, you shouldn't be too Jewish. And even my cousin Aaron, who was a fireman from a very Orthodox world, there's a play that I did on Broadway called The 10th Man. And then in The 10th Man, it was written by Paddy Chayefsky. This is about 20 years ago. We all put on tefillin, and it's based on the Dybbuk, the play The Dybbuk. And we're all putting on tefillin and we're davening, and I was the only one who knew about that stuff. And my cousin Aaron said to me, "This is an Orthodox Jew." He said, "Why do you have to put the tefillin on? Why do you have to let everybody see it? It's not so nice that they should see what we do." And this was an educated guy who was a little embarrassed that the world at Lincoln Center, you know, 1,000 people every night saw us doing what he thought, I guess, was a strange thing. Giving up our secrets and showing, and the guys were bickering in the shul. You know, these were old Jews, like in the 70s, 60s. It's based on Shalom Ash's play, The Dybbuk. It was a Yiddish play originally.
Very private person. What attracted you about this opportunity to come and be so open?
I didn't know what this was going to be. Larry Trilling, who's a friend of mine, I guess a friend of yours, was a director on Alias. One day we were talking and he asked me my background, and I told him about, you know, yeshiva and all that. Because you don't often meet actors who come from the world that I come from. And he found it very interesting. And so the first day of the writer's strike, I was picketing. No, I was in New York picketing, but at some point we were picketing, and he said to me, "There's going to be this gathering of Jews. Limmud, would you be interested?" So I thought a bunch of Jews getting together, you know, it's appropriate for me. I didn't know what it was going to be. I live in New York. I've been in New York during the whole time of the strike. I just got back here the other day. I said I'd do it. I didn't know what this was going to be. They asked me if I would give a talk. I said I can't give a talk, but I'll sit here and, you know, do this. Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to connect. And if there's a group of people who have a common identity and want to understand it and promote it and make contact, I'm open to that.
Do you ever get embarrassed by what other Jews or Jewish groups do, or do you feel like it's reflecting?
I get embarrassed by vulgarity. I get embarrassed by people who are rude. I get embarrassed whether they're Orthodox or Catholics, or I get embarrassed by people who aren't kind and respectful to each other. So that's what embarrasses me. But somebody who walks around with tzitzits hanging out, or somebody who's wearing a sheitel, or somebody who is wearing a skirt down to her ankles, no. I mean, people have the right to live the way they live. I have a cousin, Tamra. My mother's one of 14. My mother's next to the youngest, and Aunt Alice was one older than my mother, and she died, and she had one child, Tamra. Tamra's father remarried. Tamra had like 12 children. She's my age. She has like 50 grandchildren. Asna, they came to make a condolence call to me in Tribeca. I don't think they had been in a loft in Tribeca before, but Asna and her mother, Tamara, came, got off the elevator, walked into my house. Asna looks 30. She has 12 children. She's, I think, 40 or whatever. And she, you know, she wears a shidduch. She has a skirt down to her ankles. It's beautiful. I mean, it's exquisite. It's thrilling that people can live in a world and be happy and take care of themselves. And they're just, this is my blood. Yeah, I mean, I only people who don't treat other people well, that embarrasses me. Makes me angry. Not that. Nothing about Jewish embarrasses me.
What about Jews who want to lead a life largely isolated from the outside world, and they just want to lead their own? Is that doesn't bother you? You know, because Hollywood's so universalistic. You know, often it's outlook.
But I, you know, there's Hollywood and there's Hollywood. First of all, I'm not Hollywood, but I mean, no. I mean, people have to go to Spring Valley or Muncie, and you'll see people who decide to live a certain way. I mean, but if I said to you, there were 5 years of my life where I was a devotee of a Hindu monk, there are a lot of Jews who would go, what? And you had a red dot on your forehead? And you genuflected? And you, I mean, there are a lot of Jews who would be pissed off at me for that.
How did the monk relate to your background in Orthodox Judaism?
He spoke no English. He only spoke Hindi.
What did he say to you? Do you speak Hindi?
He had a translator, but he wasn't interested in my background. He just saw the honesty and love in my eyes and my yearning for some spiritual. I had just stopped being Orthodox, and I was open to something, and I didn't know where I wanted to go or be. And he saw my openness and was open to my openness. He just kept hitting me with peacock feathers.
So obviously you didn't find that kind of spiritual connection in Orthodox Judaism? I mean, the Hindu practice is much more spiritual experience for you,
it was just different. I was laying tefillin every morning. I could say Shachris by heart, and I found myself doing it by rote.
Exactly.
I was just, I wasn't even saying the words. It was like, you know, and I was shuckling and putting on tefillin, and suddenly I thought, what am I doing? This has become a habit. I need to find out what my connection to God is, what my connection to some spiritual, and that's when that started for me.
What did you take away from your 5 years of practice with that monk?
Not to judge anyone, ever, and not to be judged. I found the notion of, you know, I lived at the ashram for a while. My wife called me Hindu.
This is while you were married?
Yeah. I've been married 41 years. My wife's mother said to her, you know, because I was Orthodox, she said, just let him do what he wants. Don't worry about it. And so during the Hindu period, she, you know, I would be driving up to Oakland every weekend. It was fine. It was a fantastic time for me. I just knew that when it was over, it was over. I forgot your question.
What have you taken away and retained from that? I mean, you say you never judge anyone, but I mean, what if you, I hate to say Hitler, but you know what I mean. You know, what about when you encounter evil? I mean,
what does that have to do with what I took away? I'm not understanding your question.
I asked you, what did you take away from your 5 years of this practice? And you said you took away never to judge anyone. So if you never judge anyone, how then do you relate to evil? For instance, like Jews relate to evil, you know, in a very passionate, you know, we judge.